right. Only slightly behind schedule as I'm still learning how to do these live videos here on YouTube. Welcome, welcome. Okay. Looks like I've got everything running. Oh, I did not mean to do that green screen. Okay, there we go. Now, hopefully I can see the chat. There we go. I've got my chat set up on the other computer set up so I can kind of see what's going on here. Okay. So this Thursday, a little bit different version of the Yoga for Vitality, which is my chair assisted Hatha yoga. That is for adults who are older adults or people living with chronic health conditions. And that's code word for, particularly with saying older adults. I work with people who have osteopenia, osteoporosis. I myself have osteoporosis, which was kind of a bit of a surprise this past July to be diagnosed with that. So, a lot of the yoga I do is chair assisted so that we are really safe in how we do our practice. Because I live with chronic health conditions, I am have been feeling a little bit. I'm in a little bit of a flare, as we like to say in chronic health condition world. So I've been having a lot higher um, higher levels of pain and fatigue and brain fog. Better today than yesterday. But what I'm going to do is a little bit slower practice today. I'm going to start seated myself, but you could start in a supine position. You could start standing. We're going to do a little guided meditation in a moment. But before we get going, I'm going to take just a moment to add a couple of supports. Now, I haven't yet done my video on can we do yoga with hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or some people will be diagnosed with hypermobility spectrum disorder, which is looking like is going to be um, acknowledged to be just hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Keep your eyes on the news for that. But what you might see me doing here a little off screen is adding lightweight ankle wraps, because my ankles are one of the more unstable joints I have on my body. You can kind of see as I turn my foot like that towards myself that my ankle has a lot of movement. And one of the great physical therapists I've been able to work with over the past few years finally one day said, we were working on my knee stuff, that my ankles were really not doing my knees any favor. And that after over 20 years of yoga practice, 23 years of yoga practice, actually, at this point, um, if they were going to get stronger from doing these strengthening exercises, they've kind of got as strong as they can get. So, as you saw, when I'm going to do a practice that involves standing poses, I try to remember to put these lightweight wraps around my ankles. They leave most of my foot free, especially my toes, but my heels as well. And they're not slippery, but they add a lot of stability for my ankles. And so, adding support for my most unstable joints is one of the ways I safely practice yoga with hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Just double checking the chat. I'm still still getting used to these live ones. Ah, so that setup done. I'm kind of resettling my body in a, as I like to say, the comfortable enough position. And this position could be seated, standing, lying down. If you feel like your mind is going in 8 directions as once this morning, keep your eyes open during a guided meditation or any meditation. What you usually discover is that instead of 8 directions at once, your mind's going in about 80 directions at once. So keeping the gaze open, but just unfocused, just a few feet out in front of you. Usually, sometimes maybe fall towards the earth or just gaze out towards the horizon with nothing really calling your attention. Not trying to identify anything with your eyes or your ears. Likewise, if you're sleepy, don't close your eyes for meditation. You will get sleepier. My most trusty partner in meditation and grounding is the breath. And what I will do when I start to settle into meditation is ask myself, like I'm going to ask you, what do you notice about your breath? If you notice the breath was just caught here right at the very top of the lungs, let yourself start to relax into a little bit deeper breath. And now find the faintest sensation of the breath. Welcome, folks. Welcome, welcome. We're just having a little meditation here. Finding the faintest sensation of our breath that we can pay attention to. Now let the breath start to feel a little deeper. Maybe even a lot deeper if it feels good. Both inhale and exhale. And with this deepening of breath, what is the biggest felt sensation of the breath? So we've moved from the first thing we notice about the breath to the faintest thing to the biggest thing. These three things kind of bring our attention to the now. We also get connected to what, especially in yoga therapy, we call the self of wisdom. And using that self of wisdom, take in a slower, steadier breath. And as you breathe it out, check in with this physical body. How is it feeling right in this moment? Greet all of the information your body wants to share with you with curiosity and kindness. Then we're going to take in one of those deeper breaths. And when you breathe this one out, check in with the body of the energetic self. So, first and foremost, this is your energy level. How much fuel is in your tank in this moment, so to speak? Okay. How much energy have you experienced? How much shifts of energy? How many since the moment you woke up and this next breath? This is also, right, our embodied nervous system is the energetic self. So we have, our precious brain here in the skull, but then we have, right, a brain here in the abdomen, we know, and all of these big nerves to the tiniest nerves. How is that self? Take in a deeper breath. And as you breathe this one out, check in with the body of your heart mind. So this is the thinking, feeling self. This is the self that thinks I am at a live yoga class. How is I doing? And we greet all of these bits of information without any judgment, with just curiosity. And we try not to be drawn into the stories of our heart mind. And then we just settle here, noticing the sensation of the breath, any sensation of our own breath. And then, if you are supine, take a moment, maybe hug your knees in. And actually, seated, we can kind of do one knee at a time. Right? Maybe do a little twist each side, especially if you laid down. But we're going to come up to seated, have some support underneath you. So maybe sit on a chair or sit on a blanket, just so that the spine can be really tall, because we're going to start with some movement up here at the neck. So the spine being tall and feeling like you are supported is more important than sitting on the ground. Pardon me there. So I'm sitting up tall, and the first thing I'm going to do, because there's a camera here, like I can tell my face is a little bit forward. So I'm going to very intentionally bring my head back to neutral, which can almost feel a little bit odd when there's a camera on, and reach up through the top of my head. And then I'm going to slowly turn my face all the way to my right side. And then bring that back to center. And then before I go to left side, I'm just going to shrug both my shoulders, sit up tall, make sure my head is neutral, and then turn my head all the way to the left side. And then bring that back to center. And then I'm going to do each shoulder one at a time, like I'm doing a little tiny backstroke here. Okay. Then different movement. I'm going to tip my right ear over to my right shoulder, trying to make sure that my shoulders and my arms stay relaxed, spine long. And now bring that back up. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do a big shoulder roll, sit up tall, then tilt my head over to the left side. Squeezing my ear towards the shoulder. A little pause here. And then bring that back up. A couple little backstrokes. And one big one. I had a lot of stiffness through my neck and shoulders yesterday. So I'm going to once again squeeze my right ear, the right shoulder. But this time I'm going to take my left hand, bring it down, and do a little, there we go. Bring it down and just slowly make a soft fist, extend my hand, make a soft fist, extend my hand. And then let that left arm just dangle. Let it feel heavy as possible. Bring that left hand back to the left leg. Now, before we lift the head up, we're going to turn. Move slowly, especially if you have a neck that is prone to being stiff or has any issues with stability, right? Notice how slowly I'm turning my chin towards my right shoulder, so I end up with my face once again turned over to the right side. I'm sitting up tall, and now I'm going to tuck my chin down, which is another big movement. So I'm going to just pause after doing that. And then I'm going to follow my collarbone and draw my chin along my collarbone and lift the head up. And then couple big shoulder rolls. A little mini no there. Sit up nice and tall. Here we're going to go to the other side. I'm going to slowly squeeze left ear towards left shoulder. Can you see my left shoulder trying to come up to help? I'm going to try and relax that. Then I'm going to let the right arm drop down. And first, I really relax through that, get long through the arm, and then just a few times open and close the hand. Let the right arm just hang for a moment. Heavy through both arms, relaxed. And then slide that right hand back up to the right leg. Begin the slow turn. And I'm turning my face to the left. So I end up facing over the left shoulder, tall at first. And now tuck the chin down towards the shoulder. And then I'm going to follow the collarbone, tucking my chin down towards my neck. And I'm taking in a deep breath while I'm here. And I'm going to slowly roll the head up. And I'm going to do a couple double shoulder rolls. And then a little twist here for the torso. As I twist to the left, I'm pushing that right hand off my right leg. Okay, next time you twist to the left, just pause. Right hand can go over here to right knee or over across to the left knee. I took my left hand to the chair behind me. I'm pushing down nice and tall. And then I'm going to turn my face over here to the right side. And just pause a moment and reconnect all the way down from my sit bones through my legs, through my feet. And now unwind the face, unwind the torso. Right, and just a little movement in here between. And then I'm gonna very deliberately get tall, twist over here to the right. Left hand can go to left leg or over to the right leg. Right hand, I'm bringing it to the chair here that's behind me. And I'm not trying to pull myself deeply into the twist. What I'm really using the hands for is to get tall. I'm letting my face turn to the left. And then I reconnect sit bones through legs, down to my feet, pressing through my feet. So really, everything is active here except my face. And then speaking of, face unwinds, torso unwinds. And in the little movement there, and get that little movement, we're going to come up to standing next. So in this transition time, take a moment to go find a little bit of hydration, and we're going to use a yoga strap or something like a yoga strap. And when I say something like, you could get a bathrobe tie, a necktie if it's not too precious, any kind of belt that you would wear for fashion or function, dog leashes, right? You can hear in all of those things, it's something that's not stretchy. You could also use a tea towel, a hand towel, right? In this place, I have a whole video that shows all the different things you can use in place of a yoga strap. The chair, I always keep the chair handy for these standing practices most of the time, unless it's going to make me covered up. And then sometimes I move it so it's off screen and I use the walls. Just one moment. I dropped my one yoga strap yesterday. I just remembered. Here it is. Fell behind this furniture here. Okay, so what I have done is I'm lining this chair up along the long side of the mat. I use a T when I am teaching, so I can easily switch to this wide view and this vertical view. So this is just in the middle of the long side before we even get into any real kind of more classic looking yoga, we're going to go down to foot level, rotate around the outer edge of our foot here. Right? And when I do this, I'm going to just take a moment. I go all the way around. I don't get the arch and instep down. And we've got a few times one way. I'm going to go the other way. You can see I call these whole leg circles because all of the joints through the leg, all the way up to the hip, are getting this circling motion. I lean that over on that right leg and I start doing the same thing for the left leg. A few times one way, and then I'm going to go the other way. Just a little wake up here for these joints. Right? Give them a little shake. And then I'm going to come a little closer, right? I come up onto my toes and I lightly scrunch them under. That slid too far down, right? Then what I do is I take that foot behind me, right? Just a little bit here. And I press down through the back of the top of the foot. And if it starts to feel easy, I maybe take that a little further back. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it forward and through to the front. And then we'll do the other side. Here, I'll lift this up just a little bit. So I curl the toes under, right? Lightly press them down. And then as my foot starts to feel a little bit less tight, I maybe take that a little further back. I'm going to go just a little further. And then I drag along the top of the foot, kind of traction that as I come and stretch to the top of the foot. Right? And then go ahead, put the heel out, pull the toes back towards you, stretch those toes out. Right foot there, lift that foot up. Right? You see I have my hand on the chair, and then bring that foot back behind you. Right? Go ahead and bend a couple times into the left knee. A little warm up for warrior one there. And then we're going to step that forward. And then left foot, take the heel out, pull the toes back towards you, get a little stretch there for the Achilles tendon. Right? And then pick that foot up, right? Lift it up, take it back behind you, bring it down, right? And then the right knee, a couple bend in and out of the right knee, a little right knee warm up there. And then we'll step that left leg forward. You can tell we're going to have some warrior poses coming, some lunges, but before we get there, just a little side to side movement for the hip, right? Moving back and forth. Get a little bend in the knee. So I'm bending the right knee, pushing out through the left hip, bending the left knee, pushing that right hip out. Take the arms out and start to move, right, a little bit further in the body. All right, now take the arms up like this and move from the upper part of the spine. So we're getting into the movement of the spine that is able to do an S curve. We're going to get to that S curve in a moment, right? The S curve right now, like that. So we start at the bottom and we go up to the top. A little like, one of those advertising fly people that just waves around in the air there. Then a circular motion, right? I'm going to bend the knees, move my hips around like I'm doing the hula hoop here, because our spine does these wonderful twists and curves. All right. So we got through almost all of the movements the spine makes, which are kind of the essential movements. The first one, of course, is get tall. We're going to get to the last two here. And we get to those. Inhale, draw the thumbs back, hands out, pull your tailbone down, lift your face, lift your chest, right? That's extension. Exhale, mountain pose first, thumbs in, palms out, roll shoulders, chin down. And we're not going to roll down any forward, more into a forward fold. We're going to keep this flexion of the spine just there in the neck. Next, inhale, expand through the front body. Exhale, get some expansion across the upper back there. Inhaling front, tailbone down. Exhale, into the back body a little. Now, the reason we're not flowing forward into a deep forward fold here is for the benefit of anybody who's practicing with low bone density, particularly in the spine, right? When we fold forward, little spine demo here. Imagine these are your vertebrae here coming together, and there's a little disc here between those. When we do a back bend, right, that's what happens, right? Those vertebrae move away, we make space. When we do a forward bend, they do that. They crunch into each other. And if you hear of a compression fracture in the spine, that is what is happening. Those vertebrae are coming together in the front. There's not enough cushion, right? Because those discs break down as we age. The bones are less dense, and you can have compression fractures in the front of the spine. So we tend to be extra careful and only do a little bit of flexion there in the neck, because it's less likely to have those compression fractures. Chair handy. We had a little warrior warm up. We're going to do a little warrior dance. I'm coming more towards the top of my mat, but just so I don't go off screen. Bringing the hands to the heart center and finding a mountain pose. I'm going to take a moment and lift my toes up in the air. Okay, just the toes. Press down through the four corners of the feet, toes lifted. Feel for the very center of the foot. And now let the toes stretch out. Keep your connection through the four corners of the feet and the toes. Inhale, bring the arms up. And as you exhale, shift weight onto that left leg for a moment. You're going to take the right leg back, and we're going to bend into the left knee. Right? We're going to square our hips. You'll hear people say, right? So I'm turning myself to face the short side of the mat. If the shoulders feel tender with the arms up, go ahead, take the arms out wide. Or if balance feels wobbly here, arms out wide is a great way to compensate for that. And it prepares us, right? I'm going to now turn to my right side. And I like to stretch my warrior two out a little bit. So I'm going to just take my feet a little further apart. Arms are now at shoulder height for everyone. And you might look out over that left hand. We're going to turn that left hand up and inhale, sweep it up and over our head. Go ahead and breathe out here. And then inhale, bring this back up. And as you breathe out, I want you to lengthen through the left leg, and inhale, you're tipping forward and over that left leg and into a triangle shape. Right? These hands are just going to reach apart. They don't have to get to anything down here. This is all about the strength of the core anyway. Take a breath in. As you exhale, bring your left hand or your left forearm there to the left thigh. Right? Reach up through that right arm, and then reach the right arm over here to the left. We're not letting the torso tip forward towards the right. A long side angle here. Now, right hand's going to flow back, and as it comes to the right, I'm going to use it to help lift me back up into that warrior two shape. Really settle into my strength here for a moment. And then I'm going to step around that back foot and come back to a warrior one. Right? And you can see me kind of settling into that. I'm going to reach back. There's that little back bend. Breathe in. As I breathe out, I'm going to bow over that front leg with a long back. Right? A humble warrior here. And then let's breathe in, and we're going to lengthen the leg again and sweep the arms back. We end up in a pyramid shape or intense side stretch. And if you feel wobbly, right, the chair is always there, hopefully. Right, now we're going to go to a warrior three. So I'm going to bring my hand to the chair for that transition. I'm going to bend for a moment into my left leg, push off my right leg, and lift it up behind me. I stay on that left leg and lengthen it. If it's fun, and today it is, I'm going to take my hands to the heart center or back behind me. Then I'm going to pivot, maybe keep a hand on the chair, especially because I started to list to the left there. Pivot on that left leg and land in a mountain pose. Hands come back to the heart. We'll take a moment, just ground down through our feet. Okay, rock a little bit back and forth there. And then I'm going to shift the weight over the right leg. Inhale, reach up. All right. And as I breathe out, I'm stepping back onto that left leg, bending into my front right knee. And so you can see these little movements I'm making to resettle my feet. You can stand like you're on a balance beam in Warrior One. You can also stand wider if that makes it feel a little less wobbly. Arms, remember, they can be up. And you can see what I'm doing here, right? My right hip is forward. I'm drawing it back, kind of pushing that left hip forward a little bit, lengthening through my left leg. And now I'm going to lengthen to the left and into a Warrior Two. Right? Arms are down at shoulder height. I have stretched out a little bit longer in this pose. I'm looking towards my right hand. I'm going to turn that right hand up now and inhale, sweep it up and over into that reverse warrior. Breathe out here. Inhale, bring myself back up. Breathe out. I pull that right leg back and inhale. I turn this into a triangle. Go ahead and breathe out in triangle. Breathe in. And as you next breathe out, right hand or right forearm lands on the right thigh there. Really get that settled. Then take the left arm up, 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 up. Maybe over and across towards the right. Push out of that right arm to keep your torso turned left. Push out of both feet. And now take the left arm back as it pulls back to the left. You lift up and you land back in Warrior Two. All right, we're going to breathe in, step around, back to Warrior One. Oh, reach back behind you, breathe in. I'm just an exhale there, breathe out, humble warrior. Breathe out, draw the legs back into a pyramid pose. Little pause there, breathe in, right? Really stabilizing through the feet, especially that right foot. Hand to chair. And kick yourself up and onto that right leg into a Warrior Three. Remember, you can do something different with the arms. I'm going to keep a hand on the chair for this one because I'm on my ankle that's the least stable. And we're getting ready to land. So I'm going to try and not lilt to the right as much and land back in a mountain pose. Went a little bit better on that leg. So it's a little warrior flow. Take a moment with me to have some kind of hydration break. One of my teachers, the teacher I still really practice with, and my friend, Molly Landon Kinney, refers to that as actually her warrior dance. And I thought we'd go through it one more time, a little more at speed. We're going to move on each inhale. So we're going to go a little more quickly this round. We're here, mountain pose, hands at our heart center. Right, ground down through your feet. Maybe do that lifting the toes. Really connect it all the way down to the feet, tailbones reaching down. Inhale, step back and into Warrior One. Go ahead and breathe out as we hold. Inhale, turn to the right, stretch it out, Warrior Two. Breathe out. Left hand turns up. Inhale, reverse warrior, breathe out. Inhale, come up and breathe out here. And then inhale, triangle pose, breathe out. Inhale, side angle, and exhale. Inhale, back up to Warrior Two, breathe out. Inhale, step around, Warrior One, breathe out. Maybe reach back a little bit. Inhale, humble warrior, breathe out. Inhale, intense side stretch or pyramid. Exhale. Maybe a hand to the chair. And then inhale, Warrior Three. Breathing out. Inhale, mountain. And breathe out. Shift the weight to that right foot. Inhale, step back left. Exhale, warrior one here. Inhale, turning left, warrior two. Right hand turns up. Inhale up and over, reverse warrior. Whoo, breathing out. And inhale up, warrior two again. Breathe out. Inhale, triangle. Exhale as we hold. Inhale, side angle. Breathe out as you hold. Inhale, warrior two, and we exhale into our strength there. Inhale, warrior one. Settling in the exhale. And then inhale, humble warrior. Breathe out. Inhale, pyramid. Breathing out. And inhale, maybe hand on chair for this. Warrior three. Breathe out. And inhale, mountain pose. And breathe out. Ooh, shake it out. Gets the blood moving when we move with the breath like that. I'm going to take a moment, have a sip of tea. We're going to come down to the floor in just a moment. But before we do, remember I said to go ahead and grab something you could use for a yoga strap. Make sure you have that. We're going to use that once we get down to the floor. So while you make sure you have that, have a hydration break, I'm going to do a little adjustment here on the camera. And then we're going to come down to use our chair. Now, actually, the camera adjustment's going to come second because chair first. You can use this chair then to come down to the mat. I'll be moving mine off screen. And what we're going to do is just bend knees, hinge hips, bring our hands down to the chair. Right. And then I'm bringing my abdomen up to my spine, taking my tailbone back. And I'm going to just bend one knee at a time and move my hips from side to side. This is a little like walking your downward facing dog. And in fact, we're going to take in a breath. As you do, push your hands, draw the top of your head towards the chair back. And as you exhale, take another step back, maybe more than one. Keep the knees bent a little bit as you draw your hips back over your heels into what I call the low version of a chair dog. The high version is using the chair back. And I also teach a seated version, a downward facing dog. But this low version, I feel like I get such a nice stretch for the back body. You might once again move the hip side to side, bend one knee, draw the hips from side to side. We're still pushing lightly through the hands like you would like to push this chair down into the earth and then away from you a little bit, which will help keep the upper back really broad and expansive. Let your knees bend, reach your hips back. And then let your knees bend, right? You're going to drop down one knee at a time to the floor. And come on down to your abdomen. We're going to do a few strengthening poses from the abdomen, core strengthening. If you have a more kind of traditional yoga strap, you can use that or a towel or something folded up, tuck it underneath your head, or you can put your forehead on your hands. Just one moment. Okay. So I like to come down kind of using a plank almost, and then I curl my toes under, lift my hips up so that my hips and legs and knees feel really easy, well aligned along the floor. And one of the reasons I do that is because I am practicing yoga with hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And my knees, which are really unstable joints, my patella particularly, it helps keep them stabilized. Right, so I really make sure everything's neatly lined up. Then I take my arms forward and I elbow walk back. Now, for me, this back bend's really easy. I end up with my elbows under my shoulders pretty quickly, but you do not have to. You might be like here. You're like, that's plenty of back bend, right? I'm deliberately trying to not look up at the camera because that's going to put my neck actually in a weird extension there at the top. Once we're up here, we try and let those legs and glutes and abdomen all relax. Right, we've been there a little while. I'm going to take that out. And what I like to recommend is rocking the hips side to side. But I want to call out a little trick here I do because of my knees and that hypermobility. If I just start rocking my hips side to side with my tops of my feet flat on the floor, that actually can destabilize my kneecaps. So I curl my toes under first, which stabilizes my kneecaps. And then I just wiggle my hips side to side to release my lower back. Right, now I'm going to take the hands forward, stretch out through the legs again. I maybe even lift my hips up, even them out. Try and lengthen through the legs and let them start to relax. And then I'm going to lift up on my elbows. It's hard to see my yoga strap here is purple on my purple mat, but I do have a strap partially unrolled here that I put my forehead on when I'm down. I'm lifting up and then I'm trying to let the legs and glutes and abdomen relax. Get this little back bend here, kind of big back bend, and then let that release. When we're doing these, we're actually really focusing on getting some low back extension, back bend, because it is a little harder to get to, and the low back can really stiffen up as we age, and particularly if we have any arthritis or other kinds of degeneration happening in the low back or injury. And then lift up one more of these. We'll sag into that back bend. The glasses moment there. And then come on down. And again, curling the toes under, especially if your knees are kind of unstable, rocking the hips. And then we're going to do a little bend the knees and drop the legs side to side. It's kind of like a metronome, this movement. Nice and slow. Then we're going to do what I call cobra lift ups. I think a lot of people call these cobra lift ups, not just me. It's because we're using cobra pose and we're going to lift up repeatedly. It's not super creative. I'm going to tuck my hands underneath my shoulders. Right, so I kind of end up partially on top of my hands, especially my thumbs, and then I draw my elbows in along my torso. Now, I want the knees to be lifted for this, so I either curl the toes under and reach back through the heels, or if your feet are okay with this, press through the tops of your feet so the knees lift up, and we're all going to then get a strong pelvic tilt to the floor. This can feel like you're reaching your tailbone towards your heels. Is a good kind of reminder. And then check in, elbows drawing back towards the heels as well, in along the body. I'm going to lengthen through my top of my head. And next inhale, I'm going to peel not just head and chest away from floor, but hands as well. I'm going to hold a little bit, and then I'm going to come down nice and slow and tap my head down to that strap. And then I'm going to inhale, lift up, a little hold there, and then lower. I'm going to pair this to the breath now and inhale, lift, hold, and lower on the exhale. A couple more of those. These are counts of 3. I'm lifting 2, 3, hold 2, 3, down 2, 3. Last one. And down. And the arms release, the body releases. You might rock the hips side to side again to start. Maybe do a slow metronome with the legs. then to release that back bending, we're going to come up into a plank. Now I'm going to do a forearm plank because it's my hands are pretty tender and I have got issues with both of them. So I do a lot of things on my forearms or on my knuckles. And so for forearm plank, right, I'm checking my elbows under my shoulders. I'm interlacing my hands or just holding them together, right? And then I'm going to curl my toes under, lengthen through the spine, so I'm facing the earth, and then reach through my heels as I lift the hips up. Stretch through the back, stretch and strengthen the back body here. And pull those hips upwards. Walk the toes in a little. You can stay up on the toes, keep the knees bent a little bit. Come to either a traditional on the hands version of downward facing dog or an on the forearms version. Sometimes it gets called dolphin pose. Sometimes just gets called preparation for forearm balance. And then I'm going to come down and I'm going to bring my big toes together and take my knees out to the sides of the mat. Press through my hands and take my hips back towards my heels in a wide-kneed child's pose. I am not trying to put my head on the ground. Right? I'm keeping my neck long and a little lifted here because I'm going to start exhaling and I'm going to walk my hands over to my right side. And when I get here to the right side, I'm going to lift up a little bit, stack my torso on my right leg. I've got my right elbow bent so I can really push into the floor with my right hand. And my left hand's going to just reach here to the left, over to the right. Getting a long stretch here through the lats and the side body and the ribs. Okay, now I'm going to extend my right arm, walk myself back, reach my hips back to my heels, and I'm drawing my shoulder blades down my back a little bit. And then I'm going to walk on over here to the left side, lift up my torso, stack it on that left thigh a little more evenly, bend my left elbow so I can really reach through push down through my left hand and then reach through my right hand. Now I'm trying to use that hand pushing down, in this case the left hand particularly, to keep the hips anchored towards the heels so that we get a stretch through the waist and the ribs all the way down to the top of the hip. And now bring that back to center. And then once again, lift up into a downward facing dog, whether it is on your hands or your forearms. I'm on my hands this time. If you ever looked closely at my hands these days, they are not in the traditional way you'd be suggested to have them for down dog, which is with the thumbs spread out. My thumbs need protection and are tucked in. I'm coming down and I'm going to come over onto my back. Make sure you got your yoga strap handy as you come down onto your back. We're going to do just a little bit more with the strap, besides using it as a headrest. Once we are on our backs, take a moment there, make sure nothing feels like it's bunchy, whether it's clothing or muscles or other, right, body composition. I have my knees bent. My feet are directly underneath my knees, even just a little bit ahead of my knees rather than closer to my backside. My hands are down here. And I'm going to lift up a little bit, pressing the back of my head down, kind of tuck my shoulders under because I'm going to start to bridge. And as I bridge, I'm inhaling and I'm lifting the arms up. And as I exhale, I'm bringing my hips and my arms down. Now the arms have to go way further than the hips. So as you do this, find a rhythm where the arms and hips are meeting their goal roughly at the same time. We'll do just a few more. Now, next time you lift up, bend your elbows, push down on those upper arms, maybe lift the chest up a little bit, And then keep pushing through those upper arms and elbows. You can see I rocked a little side to side to get even more of my shoulders tucked under, lifted my hips up. I'm pushing through my feet, right? Stretching through my feet as if I want to push the floor away from me. And I'm using my glutes to help lift here. Right? That's the back side. Over the years, I have had many teachers tell me, now let ourselves slowly lower. Many great yoga teachers, but tell me not to use the glutes when we lift up into a bridge. And in the past couple of years, having had a lot more access to really quality physical therapy, um, multiple physical therapists have said, why? Okay, now press through those upper arms, right? Press, and then lift those hips. Push it to the floor, push the floor away from you with the hips, with the feet. That'll help you lift the hips. And multiple PTs would say, why wouldn't you use some of the biggest muscles here, the biggest part of your core, to help lift the hips up? Like we want the glutes to be really strong here. Lower, 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 lower. And bridges are one of the ways we help strengthen our glutes. Strong glutes really help with our balance and our stability and our ability to get up and down and out of things like the bed or the toilet as we age. Let's do one more of these bridges, right? You can see, right? There's that moment. I press through my upper arms and then I lift the hips, and here's the feet, right? You can tell when I start pushing the floor away because I get an extra inch or two at least. And we hold and we breathe and we use our glutes. All of them here. Lift, lift, lift. Strong glutes for life. All right, bring that down. And where is it? Yoga strap time. So I have a whole collection after 23 years of practicing yoga and being a instructor of adults and yoga therapist for over 20 years. A lot of things for straps. And you've heard me mention my hands a couple times. Well, I have this thing from OTPT called the stretch out strap. You can see what I can do with it. It's made of loops. And instead of having to hold it with my hands, I use this strap so I can use these loops. I'm going to let my left leg stretch out and just loop that around the right leg. And I'm going to draw a few circles here. That hand, there we go. So you can see I can slip my hands through or my entire arm, go a few times the other way. And then I'm going to take this kind of in the left hand. And you don't have to use the strap for this. If your hands are fine and can reach your knee, you could just let the strap be to the side for the moment still. But I wanted to show this little hack with the strap I do. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the knee and I'm drawing it across the midline and towards the shoulder and then coming back. And over and back. We're doing a little dynamic stretch to kind of warm this up. And then pause. And on like my sixth one, I'm not even kind of fully pausing. I'm over here to the left with the right knee and I'm drawing a couple of little small circles. And then I'm going to draw that right knee down towards my torso. And as I do, I'm going to circle the right ankle a few times one way and then the other way. And just point and flex my right ankle. And then I have to kind of shift my strap there. I'm going to slide this knee off my torso, hold it with the right hand, or brace it with the strap. I'm flexing back my left foot, pushing down my left leg. It's stretching through the groin. This also gets a stretch sometimes for the top of the hip on the left side. Go ahead and take the left arm out. Okay, bring that back up. And now the strap really can come in handy for this next one. We're going to hook it around the bottom of our right foot, right there around the ball of the foot. And take a moment here and get my hand through this. And then I'm going to pull my foot in so my thigh comes down towards my torso. And then I'm going to push just my foot up towards the sky. Right? Pulling the foot back towards my face, thigh is still coming down. This is a supine version of what sometimes is called a dragon lunge. And one of the advantages of doing the supine is that there's no loaded spinal flexion, right? It's a much safer version of a dragon lunge if you have low bone density. Now, you can see what I'm starting to do. I'm slowly letting out the slack of my strap and extending that leg upwards. It's right above my hip. Does not have to be perpendicular. If you want to be a little more down towards your leg, that is okay. We want the leg fully lengthened here. And I'm going to, before I do anything else, I'm going to just draw some circles. One direction, they're not very big, then the other direction. I'm pulling the toes back towards my face. Right? Can you see them there? Stretching them out, pushing up through the heel. Really stretch the Achilles tendon and the bottom of the foot with this. Then I'm going to take the strap over here to the left hand. Let the right arm stretch out. And I'm going to just go back and forth again. A little over and a little back. And what this does is help move not just the muscles, but the nerve that is moving, the big sciatic nerve that is moving through. Okay. And then take that over and just pause. Now, you can go lower, cross more above your shin if this feels really tight. Get some more slack there. We want to keep the back down and the hip down on the right side as we're pushing that right foot over towards the left. Okay, now keep pushing against the strap. Push that foot up in the air. And then we're going to bend the left knee and put the left foot on the floor. Okay, strap. I'm going to unwiggle there. Over to the right hand, or in my case, right forearm. I got it through those loops. Take the left arm out and then let the left knee drop out to the left. I'm going to draw that right leg. And when I say draw, the arm's not doing the strength here. The arm is keeping the straps taut so I can push my right foot against that strap. It's gone a little off screen there. Right, there we go. Push, 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 push. So as far as it's good, I don't try and get this to the floor. Right? This is actually called hand to big toe. So if anything, it's more like you're trying to get to there rather than get that leg out to the floor. Okay, bring that back up, both the knee and the leg. And once again, get a foot stretch. Flex your toes back, push up through the heel. Now, some of you have been wanting a stretch for the back of the hamstring. That's the back of the leg. Here's where I like to add it. I'm going to start pulling this leg down towards my torso and head again, keeping it long. I'm going to release that. And I do a little kind of tricky thing here. I'm going to take with my foot. I am slipping this strap. You can do this with your hands too. I just have done it so many times. I can do it with my foot. I'm putting that strap around the front of the left leg, just below my knee. Then, see that strap there? I'm going to cross my right ankle over to my left leg, just above the knee. I'm getting the strap to both hands, so it's ready to go. But before I try and lift this left leg off the floor, actually I'm going to push out of my left foot, anchor myself on the ground. And can you see me reach my right knee away to the right there? So when we do that, I'm going to move my hand. We get a stretch here in the hip. We also can feel that here around the outside of the knee where the sciatic and the peroneal nerves meet. They're at the base of the knee. Now I'm trying to keep this sense of this leg reaching away as I take both sides of the strap and I pull, and see my left leg there comes off the floor. Now, because the strap is holding the leg, let that left leg relax entirely. Using the strap to lift the other leg up for a figure four is a much safer way to do this if you have low bone density in your spine, because curling up to grab your hands around the leg to pull it up, put yourself in a loaded spinal flexion, which can be, as we were talking earlier, a little detrimental to the spine. So the strap lets you use your arms instead of in a different way. What I like about using the strap is it's way easier to kind of rock around in figure four, or I love to draw a circle here with that left leg, which is harder to do if I'm using my hands alone. Or one of my students likes to use just core strength here and just uses all of her core strength to do all of this and holds it. It's a great option. One thing we can do in figure four, watch what happens with my shin. So right now my tailbone is up a little bit and I'm gonna tip, see my legs move, my tailbone down, which brings this figure four a little more presently into the piriformis and other parts of the hip and other muscles. You will feel sometimes the low back lift up a little bit when you do this because you're tilting on your pelvis to take the tailbone down. Okay, now I'm gonna let that strap release and keep a hold of it. And I brought my left leg down. I'm gonna reach up and grab my right ankle with my left hand. And then I'm gonna stay in figure four, but I'm gonna drop my legs over here to the left side. Now, right arm, if the shoulder is really tender, keep that right arm in close like this. If it's not tender, you can stretch the right arm out. Just don't let it go higher than your shoulder. Foot here, can you see it's flat on the floor? I keep my hand here stabilized around the ankle so my foot doesn't slide. And then I try and just relax into this shape. I had a teacher refer to this twist as sleeping pigeon, which does kind of address some of the hip stretch here that you're getting. Now, coming out of this is a bit more of a leverage twist. And I really like to recommend with twist, you roll into the twist. So I roll to the left, release my legs, release my arms. Then I come out of it and I make what I call the tall mountain, right? This is a tall mountain, whether you're standing, seated, or lying down. And then right, left leg. I get that left leg in there and I give it a big squeeze. So I might slip the strap for this first part or use my hands if my hands feel okay doing this. And the first thing I'm gonna do, right, is I'm gonna give that a squeeze. And I just circle my ankle a few times, one way, the other way, point and flex that ankle. And then I've got left knee and right hand. I can take left arm out if I'm not using a strap to do this part. And then I just take my knee across and then back out. And I just do this a bunch of times, honestly. We're kind of warming up for the bigger stretch we do with the strap in a moment. And for holding it. This is, again, can help loosen the stickiness of the muscles, the fascia, the tendons, can get the nerves moving if they're kind of stuck in there. All right, we're going to hold one now. Draw that across, just hold for a moment. Draw a couple little circles here. In each direction. And then bring that back in, give that a squeeze. Take it into the left hand, draw it out and up towards the left armpit. You can see I'm taking the right arm out. I'm flexing back my right foot, pressing down through my right leg. Okay, and then bring that back in, give it a squeeze. Strap comes back and goes around the bottom of the foot. We pull the thigh down towards our torso. Then take the foot up towards the sky. And a dragon lunge here. Then, here's my long side. We lengthen that strap and leg. And once it is all the way up, first just some circles. In both directions. And then I'm going to take both sides of the strap over here to my right arm, and I think I was right that first time. Come up a little higher. There we go. Okay, I'm going to just come across and then out. Across. And like we did with the knee, I'm going to go back and forth a few times. And then we're going to pause. Reaching across. Someone got overheated in their bed. This is a birdie in the background. Our 11-year-old, which is very old for an English bulldog. And he has a bed here to my side, but he sometimes gets a little overheated and wakes up before class is over. Okay, now push that strap. Bring that back up. We're going to bend the right knee, put that on the floor, take the strap over to that left hand, and then right knee drops out, right arm reaches out. That left leg goes out and up to the left. And bring that back up. Okay. Bring the toes towards your face. Reach up through the bottom of the foot. Okay. Getting that stretch for the bottom of the foot here in the Achilles tendon, which I forgot to do earlier. So we're going to hold this just a little bit moment longer. Lengthen through the back of your leg. Those of you that want a little more back of the leg stretch, you might start pulling this leg closer to your head. This for me does not go any further than this. And then we're going to bring the strap around the front of the right knee, remember, right below the knee, then left ankle, then it comes around the thigh. We grab both sides of that strap in our hands, one in each hand, cross that left ankle over to the right thigh just above the knee. And then flexing the left foot back, I'm reaching out through my left knee, reaching away from my body. Just a little bit, and I could even go just a little bit back and forth if this is very tight, which for me, this side is much tighter. And then I'm going to pull on the strap and bring my right leg up with my left leg attached. I might move around a little bit. Including rocking a little bit, drawing circles with that right leg. That's one I like. I like the circles a lot. And just pausing there, reach out through that left knee and try and take the tailbone down. Right, there's that difference. Here's my back is flat down, and then I tip on my pelvis and take my tailbone down. And then we're gonna release that. All right, bring that down, reach up, get a hold of that left ankle with the right hand, drop both legs over there to the right side. Left hand, either keep it on the ribs or the left arm can stretch out at lower than the shoulder. Try and relax the legs into this twist. And hips. And coming out of this, right, we roll to the right, roll into that, stretch out that leg, stretch out the body. Into a full body stretch there. Let that strap settle off to the sides. And I'm going to go ahead and come up and do a little guided meditation to wrap this up, but stay right where you're at. If you are still here, hanging out at the end of class, feel free to just hang out for a moment. Get yourself into a more comfortable position. Make any little adjustments there. And letting yourself now feel settled against the earth. Here at the very end of our practice, let out a long breath, maybe even with a bit of a sigh. And as you do, let go of any little places you see, feel like, oh, the body is still kind of hanging on here. Is there any tension, any tenderness? Where can the body soften a little more? Feeling all the places through the back body that you're touching the earth. Where does it feel like you are the most firmly connected to the earth right now? And then feel for places, maybe like the back of your neck or ankles or the back of your low back. You might not be actually touching the earth, but maybe you can feel how gravity is there reaching for you. Imagine you are drawing with a line of light, the outline of your body. Feel the edges where the body is touching the ground, but is starting to become like the side of your leg. Just draw a line around, feeling all those edges. And then from awareness of the sides, feel the front of the body. Maybe you can sense the feeling of your clothes on the body, the feeling of the open air of the room around you. Now feel the whole of the body, back, sides, front, together. The whole body together. Your whole body together and resting in this space. Take a moment, and if you're a visual person, create an image in your mind of your whole self here resting. If you're not a person who visualizes things, just take a moment and really remember the felt sense of your body right now, supported by the earth and at rest. The whole self resting. Now start to find just a little bit of movement. Take in a bigger breath. Then wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, maybe move your head in a little no. Oh, back and forth no, until you are ready for larger movements that bring you back upright. If you have any questions or comments, I would love to see them there. You can leave them in chat. I'll hang out for just a moment longer. If not, next Thursday, I will be back with another live class. Next Thursday, I might shake it up. It might be an all seated class in chairs so that we get, the Imperial we there. So I get a mix of the different kind of full length classes that are available here on the channel for people to come to. But these Thursdays are going to be live classes for the most part going forward. Look for them on my calendar and yeah, leave a comment, subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos or future live classes. But most of all, just thank you for coming today. Thank you for sharing your time with me, and thank you for practicing. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you. bye. I'll see you all next week.